at 33rd Avenue High School, and I came to know the singer. I was in the 7th grade, and it was the junior high was with the high school, and so when there was an assembly, a large assembly, typically the junior high schoolers as well as the high schoolers would meet in the 33rd Avenue High School gym. He was always there, and he was always singing. There was an expectation of someone to sing, be it the national anthem or be it Old Man River. He always sang. Had an incredible grin. And then every time he sang, it would always sound like he was grinning. I mean, he kind of sung with his heart. Everyone knew he could. And he imparted that to his students. They seemed to adore him. They did adore him. And even the guys tried to emulate him. I mean, I can remember J.P. Lawrence and many others. Edward Reynolds, so many were to sing like their instructor. I couldn't sing, but boy did I admire his singing. And I admired his grin. I mean, it went in ear to ear, and when he sang with his entire heart. I mean, coming from his toes to his diaphragm, up through his lips. This man could sing. Actually, I come to find out he did everything with his heart. And to that, I say so long to Mr. Don Hawthorne, Sr. Chatted with him just a little bit, but mostly loved to sit and listen to him sing. You know, earlier this week, ladies and gentlemen, we commemorated, and there was a marketplace for the weighed-in. And that's every reason in the world why I think that tonight's a good night for Bro and Bar to have their spring break solutions there in Biloxi at Sideway. Because it is similar. This whole concept of being public is what this is all about, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be very, very frank. There are those who are appalled, insulted, scared, apprehensive about seeing anyone else besides themselves on the beach. And that ranges from young people, from seeing too many young people, oh, look at all those young people, to seeing too many Negroes. Now that has always been. Young people have always been going out there, I mean in droves, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me on this, Highway 90, since the beginning of its inception, has always been crowded, especially during spring break. This is nothing new, I've explained that. And if there's any one of those individuals out there who were around back in the 1960s and 70s who want to argue with me, call me. We'll debate it. I'll show you pictures of what Highway 90 looked like and how delighted every business was to have it backed up. No concern then. Not a concern now. How do we handle it then, by the way? Because trust me, ladies and gentlemen, you only had about 550 parking spaces from Bay St. Louis to Ocean Spring. But there are those who are just simply appalled. And there's nothing you're going to do about it. There's nothing. There are those who are apprehensive about seeing a bunch of African Americans out on that beach. What are they doing there, out there dirtying our beautiful, pristine sand? Or they must be up to something. You have that kind of suspicion coming from the conservative ranks all the time, ladies and gentlemen. And it goes back to the antebellum days. It goes back to the enslavement, actually. It really does. That kind of fear. And now, look, I'm just describing it. That's all I'm doing. I'm not out trying to convince someone not to be scared. I really don't care. As long as I don't let your fear impair my pursuit of happiness. Got me? You can't babysit that. You know, you're going to have people who are like that. But we survive in spite of them. So now with that said, that's what the weighed-in really was about. Oh, there's no doubt that Harrison County and the cities along the coast tried to suggest, well, it's about property rights. The owners of property north of Highway 9 owned it to the water's edge. Nah. More than anything else, this was about actually my mother, my father, Dr. Mason, Dr. Don, or anyone else who was not Caucasian going on that beach. Just telling you. And it takes those of us who are around then to know that. What are you doing here? Was always the question. Why are you people out here? Always the question. Well, there's a beach. We're fishing. What? But there's something else you need to know. I've got the microfishing. Road, you're going to hold up the microfiche that I got from this. At the time, it was called the Daily Herald. Let's see, what do I have the date on this? Is Monday afternoon, April the 24th, I guess. It basically is showing, what's happening here is reading out exactly what transpired, not only during the weigh-in. Some of you don't know this, folks, but you really should. Just listen to how this read. 4 Negroes were arrested on charges of investigation and taken to Harrison County Jail in Gulfport. They're George Fial, 24, on Huff Alley, and it goes on at Zeblo. He was arrested near the scene shortly after there was a Caucasian man, a boy, who was shot. One white man, MC Sharper, told police he was jumped by 5 Negroes while he was walking on Forest Avenue about 11 p.m. Now, you understand there was a wait-in, and then there was the after effect. And after effect was nothing short of a battle. In the early morning hours, 3 windows at the Standard Service Station at Nixon and Division Street, which, by the way, I live just, my apartment was on Nixon Street. We're about 4 doors away from the Standard gas station, owned by African Americans, I might add. You heard me right. So windows were shot out there at Nixon Street and Division, where they were blasted out by shotgun. A window at the Little Apple on Main Street, Railroad, right there as you cross Railroad on Main Street. Windows there were shot out as well. 3 white Keesler airmen complained to police that they had been jumped by young Caucasian males while they were having a beach party there at Porter. And the list goes on and on. I mean, it's when you read through this, and hopefully we can put this online and you can take a look at it. In other words, there's just this indication that somehow or another it was just Negroes wading out into the water, and that's not what it was like. W.B. McDaniel said that a truck which he owned was damaged about 7 p.m. Sunday night when the windshield was broken. He said that the vandals attempted to get into the driver's side of his truck, but he managed to drive away. The shootings happened during the height of tension when cars and pickup trucks of white people patrolled the streets, some looking for trouble, others curious. White boy shot. Andrew Parker, 17, son of Mr. and Mrs. L.J. Seymour, was treated at the Biloxi Hospital for gunshot wounds. And the list goes on and on. Goes on and on. Police Herbert McDonald clamped down with a curfew that night. What I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, is when you look at the wait-in and you sing the songs and folks get up and they pray and they do the roll call, you got to understand, this was carnage. There were people who were defending themselves and there were people who were offending others. Be not misled. The wait-in, as you see on television and in the pictures, imply that somehow or another Negroes were somehow, I don't know, what would you call it, docile? That's not the case. Whenever you take someone's right, trust me on this, your rights then are put at risk. And that's what it was like. So in other words, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have any rights that a criminal doesn't want to take away. And what happened to those African Americans, Dr. Mason, James Black, was criminal. And what they did against the government at the time, including the Chief McDonald, and the mayor, and the alderman, and all the other Caucasian citizens who did not want them on that beach was defend themselves. They defended themselves quite well, and guess what? They won. They defended themselves all the way through the federal courts, and by 1968, some 8 years thereafter, it was ruled that everybody had access to the beach. The beach was public. Now go figure that. How many millions of dollars did Harrison County taxpayers, including the Negroes who wanted to go on the beach, lose for having to determine that that beach was public? Now I'm saying all that to say this for those who are dealing with spring break for the last 20 years. It's been 20 years since the first one happened. You don't give up. No. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, if it's worth fighting for, then you don't put a time limit on that. Your rights and your pursuit of happiness is only in as much as you are prepared to defend it, and defend it you must. And if it's anything you've learned from the way then, and for those of us who came before you, we defended ourselves by words, or blows, or both. I wish I could take credit for that. I can't. Frederick Douglass said it very, very well. Where there is no struggle, there is no progress. Power concedes nothing without demand. So, I hope that there are those tonight who will, at the very least, keep that in mind as you quest to do what is necessary. You know, interestingly enough, on this same microfiche, you will see just to the, where is it, to the left of that. I want to get this because at that same time, the sheriff was actually collecting firearms. It's amazing. I was shocked by what I saw on this row. It we'll find it and you'll see. All right, look, I've got to before I'm going to switch gears just a little bit. I got to get into this Kanye West thing. Oh, here it is. Sheriff ready to confiscate. Sheriff Beto. Sheriff said that his office is ready to register all not confiscate, but register all pistols, revolvers, machine guns, and the like, right here in the corner. All right, look, folks, I know you want to deal with this Conway thing.
A whole lot more. There's been some more witnesses there in Mobile. We're going to get to all of it. Bro, so what do you think about this Kanye West Make America Great thing?
Well, just to catch some folks up, if you're not familiar with Kanye West's latest antics, Kanye is defiant. He's on an upswing. Some would say his wife is certainly saying that on her social media. But he gave his support for Donald Trump on Twitter yesterday. Positive words from the president, and he also tweeted a picture that, like you showed me, wearing a "Make America Great Again" hat. He's wearing a Make America Great Again hat. He's standing in between, and see if you can find it when he posted it on Facebook. He's standing in between or next to two Caucasian individuals. One seems to be throwing up this symbol. If you're watching on Facebook Live right now, this, of course, means a lot of things to a lot of folks. You know, it's a gang sign, but it represents several gangs, you see. And one of those gangs is possibly white supremacists. It could be a white power symbol, you see. The W and the P. You see that? White power. White power. Possibly. We don't know. I don't hang out with those individuals. But it has been noted that is their symbol. So now Kanye's online with his "Make America Great Again" hat, with these next to these two Caucasian males, and one's throwing up the 3 6s or the WP or whatever. And he's gotten a lot of backlash on Twitter. This all started when he took the former president Barack Obama to task, stating on his Twitter account, Kanye wrote, "Obama was in office for 8 years and nothing in Chicago changed." He tweeted that on yesterday. He might have been a little bit perturbed. The president, of course, was very critical of Kanye while he was in office, even going so far as to call him a jackass. No, really.
Were your girls as hacked off as mine were that Kanye did Taylor Swift the Joe Wilson treatment?
I think that was really inappropriate. You know, I mean, it's like she's getting an award. What are you putting in? I hear you. I agree with you. I hope
Joe, does that count as the first question?
The young lady seems like a perfectly nice person. She's getting her award.
How'd you do that?
He's a jackass.
Of course, that made headlines when the president said it initially. That was response to the Taylor Swift debacle, where he jumped on stage and took her shine and said Beyonce deserved the award for the year. So, still water under the bridge between Kanye West and former President Barack Obama. However, he's always been critical of the former president. His support of the current president seems to be what is the bone of contention. Now, people are jumping up and down. He's been referred to as Kanye and other things, but he went on to tweet yesterday, quote, "You don't have to agree with Trump, but the mob can't make me not love him." I don't know. I don't know what it means either.
Who's the mob?
I guess you guys.
Okay.
Y'all are the mob. He continues quoting, "We are both dragon energy. He is my brother. I love everyone. I don't agree with everything anyone does. That's what makes us individuals. And we have the right to independent thought." End quote. You can go check his Twitter account if you don't believe me. I wish I were making this up, folks, but I'm not. The president responded to Kanye, tweeting back, "Thank you, Kanye. Very cool." And also linking Kanye's tweets. I got a lot to keep him crying, folks, because I'm worried about Kanye West. Now, his wife, Kim Kardashian, tried to get ahead of all of this backlash. A lot of folks are saying that Kanye is in the sunken place, a reference to Academy Award-winning film Get Out. She actually uses that terminology in a tweet to defend her husband, saying that he's not in the sunken place. You can tell because he's defending himself. He's expressive. That means he's not in the sunken place. I'm paraphrasing. I don't have her tweet. I got too many tweets floating around here. But she's defending her husband, as every good wife. Yeah, what did she say exactly over there?
Is that now when he spoke up about Trump, most people, including myself, have very different feelings and opinions about this. But this is his opinion. I believe in people being able to have their own opinions, even if they're really different than mine. He never said he agrees with his politics.
That's the second tweet. So is that the one where she's mentioning the sunken place, or that's another tweet? No.
That's another one.
It's another tweet. So she's not relenting on her support for her man, nor should she. Or should she? I don't know. But the tweets came after the report that another radio host, Ebro, did on the East Coast. West told him that, quote, "I love Donald Trump." He defended a previous tweet in which he complimented conservative commentator Candace Owens. She's a Negro Republican commentator. There's not really much else I can say about her. But Kanye appreciates her point of view and is looking more and more like a diamond and silk type character nowadays online. I'm sorry referring to so many tweets, but all this is happening online and, fast and furious. And then this morning, the president just called in out of the blue to Fox and Friends to go off on the FBI, James Comey, trying to distance himself from Michael Cohen, but ends up implicating himself in Michael Cohen's Stormy Daniels situation. We'll play that for you here shortly. A lot happening, very, very fast. But Kanye went on to say that his wife, Kim Kardashian West, told him that she wanted him to make it clear what was going on. So he tweeted out, "I don't agree with everything Trump does. I don't agree 100% with anyone but myself." So further evidence of one or two things here. And I'm not going to labor on Kanye too long, but a lot of you have commented on it online, and we just want to give you a chance to express how you feel about it. So Kanye West, after his mother died, was never the same person. He was not. And you can tell from not only his public appearances, his physical appearance, his actual appearance, but his music changed significantly right after Donda West died. And the way that he approached music and fame even started to shift, right? So I'm thinking that because, my best friend, as everyone knows, who knows me, is my mother. And I can't imagine life without her, right? So I understand that this may have taken a toll on him that continues to have repercussions throughout the years. When my mother lost her mother, it was the same thing. She still deals with that. So I'm trying to give Kanye the benefit of the doubt because he lost his mom's, and I don't know what that's like, and I don't ever want to know what that's like, right? So I'm trying to be sensitive to the fact that he may be going through a form of PTSD in which he has not gotten over the loss of his mother, who he writes about a great deal in his music and in his writings. And you know, if you know anything about Kanye, you know that Donda was the most important person to him in his life, at least before he met Kim. But I want to be optimistic that this is like a phase, like he's going to realize something and just kind of like swim up out of the sunken place like Chris did and get out. But I don't know that's going to happen. And I also don't know that he's not a shield for the president. A shield. S-H-I-L-L, not I-E-L-D. A shield. Someone who goes out, like Diamond Silk, somebody who goes out and trots and, you know, sings the praises and, you know, blows a horn and does a little dance for the president, right? Well, it puts him in the good graces of the President of the United States, which he was not in previously. Now, remember what Obama said about Kanye. Both from Chicago, both lauded as you know, Chicago's favorite sons at that time. So for him to have that reaction from Obama after he did the Taylor Swift deal, and to almost immediately, like right when he got out of the hospital, Kanye had they say Kanye had like a mental breakdown, right? He went off at a concert going off on Jay-Z and Beyonce and the government and, you know, again, singing praises for Donald Trump, kind of going off on Hillary a little bit. After that, they were saying he was under tremendous stress and was having a mental episode and needed professional attention. So they carted him off to get evaluated or reprogrammed or something. So, and I mean that. I know some of y'all caught that. Look, so Kanye now is back out. He laid low for a while, had a couple more kids, but now he's coming back out. Kim has got a new fragrance line, so they're back in the spotlight. So what better way to not only promote his brand, but her brand, but at the same time the president's brand, by jumping back online, sing the praises of Donald Trump. Donald Trump, who this morning when he called into his favorite TV show, the Dog Network, sang Kanye's praises even louder than his tweet from yesterday. Here's the president from earlier today, this morning.
We want to get to Kanye West. He tweeted that he loves you, that you're his brother, and the left goes ballistic. What's your reaction?
Yeah, well, they do. You know, I have known Kanye a little bit, and I get along with Kanye. I get along with a lot of people, frankly. But Kanye looks, and he sees black unemployment at the lowest it's been in the history of our country, okay? He sees Hispanic unemployment at the lowest it's been in the history of our country. He sees, by the way, female unemployment, women unemployment, the lowest it's been in now almost 19 years. He sees that stuff, and he's smart. And he says, you know what? Trump is doing a much better job than the Democrats did. And by the way, if they ever got in and started putting back all these rules and regulations where you can't breathe, where businesses go out of business, our country would be in big trouble.
So the president this morning on Fox and Friends there, singing the praises of Kanye West and dropping statistics that are basically non-existent. And he did that the whole interview. He called in unprovoked because James Comey was on another news network last night talking about his book and the memos and his experiences with the president. So the president's been irate all night. He probably didn't sleep. He's been pissed all night. So what does he do? He waits till everyone's asleep. He's watching his favorite shows. I'll call him. And he calls him. And he doesn't just sing the praises of Kanye West, but he implicates himself very seriously in the Stormy Daniels situation and the Russia scandal. Now, he directly comments on Comey's memo when he's talking about staying in Russia. And we'll get to that. I'm getting sidetracked here. Kanye is now performing. He's performing for the president, and he's performing for those folks who would do what the president did and clap for him and pat him on the top of his head and call him a good boy. Like those two individuals who were in the picture online there. He's acquiescing. He's coming to the Godfather, and he's bowing his head, and he's someone on Facebook Live, he's kissing the ring. He's kissing the ring here. You're shaking your head like you're disgusted. Why are you? Why are you sad? Well, that's not. I mean,
I know, and it's just almost surprising to even be discussing this.
Well, you didn't see this coming?
I saw it, but
When blonde-haired Kanye showed up in Trump Tower and took pictures, and when they tried to ask him questions about,
doubling down.
well, he's triple, quadrupling down. Now he's got a Make America Great Again hat on.
So, I mean, it's
It looks like somebody's old cap too, like not even like a new factory cap, like
Yeah.
somebody, like one of those white guys.
it's a hand-me-down.
One of those white guys said, "Hey Kanye, you know what would be great?" And they all sound like Trump, right? You know what would be great, Kanye? You put this hat on and let's take a picture. That would be fantastic. You want to do that? That'd be great, huh? And he did. I seriously doubt that was his idea. I hope it wasn't his idea. The look on his face shows that he's not having a good time. Or is he? So boss, I don't know what to say about Kanye. I have supported Kanye throughout his career from before College Dropout. When Kanye was under the radar, producing and making hits for Jay-Z, I was aware of Kanye West, and I knew that he was going to be a big deal, right? But after his mother died, it was like he just kind of completely went off the rails. And I think that's because of the system that was around him and the lack of someone to really get in there and say, hey, look, you might want to rethink this, or are you sure about that? Or maybe, you know, not to contradict him, but to just kind of give him another point of view. I think he respected his mother's point of view, so he took her advice or her recommendations or her observations to heart, whereas everyone else around him, you know, he told Slate, you know, specifically, you don't have the answers. You don't have the answers. Apparently Trump has the answers. I don't know. I don't know. I hope he's okay. He was hospitalized in November 2016 after making inflammatory comments, but this time around he's making them, you know, from the other side. It looks like, but hopefully he'll make it through this. We're praying for Kanye as much as we can. I mean, I don't know. He's a grown man. He's a grown man with luck. I mean, I'm not going to waste time worrying about Kanye when he has a prescription, he has a wife, and, you know, folks who are supposed to be taking care of him and worrying about him. You know, I'm not getting any kickback from worrying about Kanye. You know, I'm wasting time looking at tweets. I could be doing other things. Speaking of tweets, as I just said, the president quickly came to Kanye's aid as he was being lambasted on Black Twitter and abroad yesterday, all day, and really all week since that Ebro interview. So the president comes in and defends Kanye, and now today you see the president defending himself. As we said earlier, the president went on the Dog Network this morning. His favorite show was on. They love him there, right? It's the one where the three people are sitting on the couch and they're all just talking. And he calls and he's trying to get ahead of or around everything that's been coming out. You know, Stormy Daniels' lawyer has been on TV every day since the story broke. Every day, right? Michael Avenatti has been on somebody's news network or TV show discussing the Stormy Daniels case and the fact that Trump's lawyer, Michael Cohen, paid her $130,000 to keep her mouth shut. However, the president didn't get around to signing the non-disclosure agreement. Maybe he was confused that David Dennison's name was on it and not Donald Trump, excuse me. So the president now, after Comey's interviews, after Avenatti's countless television interviews, is on the warpath. And this morning he called into Fox and Friends and was very, very, very upset with everything. Everyone except Kanye. But everybody else could get it to this morning. However, he's not very bright. I mean, he is, but he isn't. Like, he's smart in that he can kind of manipulate people. He knows how to push buttons. But he's not smart in as much as he knows what to say and when to say it. And I know a lot of y'all are trumped out. I get that. I promise you, we understand that. We have bigger fish to fry indeed. We got, Spring Break Solutions tonight, 7 p.m. at Sideways in Biloxi. We're going to get to that. However, you've got to hear this idiot implicate himself on live TV. That's us. Sorry about that. This was clearly one of the situations where, when you're a little kid and you wake up early. You remember on Saturday when you used to wake up before your parents? And you could do whatever. Like, you thought you ran the house because they were asleep. And you felt like, with me, it was like, well, I've got to make sure nothing happens to them. So I would build forts around doors and use butter knives and tape them together and think I had some kind of super weapon or whatever. Well, I had to defend my family with Locke. It was my duty as a young man. But this morning was like that situation. Nobody was awake in the White House, but Trump woke up first. He was the only kid awake, so he said, "Well, I'm gonna call my show, and I'm gonna tell them what's going on because Comey was on CNN last night and he was just lying and he wasn't, but So the president had to get around that and above that, so he calls Fox and Friends, and he tells them that Michael Cohen represented him in the Stormy Daniels deal. Way too much. We're going to play it for you when we come back, folks. You guys listening on Facebook Live, log in, search Jay-Z 94.5, go to our website, listen live there, or just tune into the People Station, and we will play for you the president implicating himself in two major legal issues over his head right now when we come back.
Fans Barbie, and join me, Will Evans, and DJ T Swan tonight at Sideways in Biloxi. We're talking solutions for spring break. So many people have opinions, so many people have something to say, but tonight, let's talk solutions at Sideways in Biloxi.
Yo, what up? It's DJ T Swan. Meet me tonight at Sideways and let's talk spring break.
Tonight, 7 o'clock. Be part of the movement. Calling out all spring break tonight. Sideways in Biloxi with Jay-Z 94.5.
Now, last thing what Tabari says is very important. Calling out all spring breakers. It's important that you guys show up. If you were a part of Black Spring Break and you live here, you live in Biloxi, you live in Gulfport, wherever, past Christian, Ocean Springs, come out and let us know what we could change to make spring break better, to make it bigger and be that event destination that it deserves to be on the coast. Some people don't want it like that. And if you disagree with them, if you think it should be, you need to come out and understand that your opinion counts and your solutions will be heard and will be presented to the powers that be to make real change and to make spring break what it should be here on the coast. Spring Break Solutions tonight. I'll be there. You coming?
I'm going to be there.
Whitlock will be there. Tabari, T Swan, Rip might pass through. We'll see what happens, but we want to hear from you, especially if you're a spring breaker yourself or you just get out and about and you're affected by spring break on the coast. Come out, let us know what needs to change or what you like. Spring Break Solutions tonight, 7 p.m. Sideways in Biloxi. Excuse me. Thank you. We'll see you there.